Well, what immediately comes to mind right now is I want to talk about the power of attention. We could say intention too, attention and intention, and how those blend together. We've probably all heard the saying, where attention goes, energy flows. That's because that's your focal point for your awareness. That's your attention. That's where you're looking at. That's what you're attending to. That's what you're listening to. That's what you're looking at. It's what you're thinking about. It's what you're focused upon. And that right there is what you're experiencing, is what you're paying attention to. And for the moment in which it's happening, that's the most important thing to you. Whether or not you're really thinking about whether or not it's important to you or whether or not it's worth writing home about, it is what is happening because it's taking your attention. And therefore, whatever you're focusing your attention on, you are pouring yourself into it. And when I say yourself, I'm talking about the energy within, who you are. Your intent is flowing towards what your attention is affixed to. That could be a beautiful garden. That could be tomatoes and weeding, picking out all those little weeds. To make a garden look like this, that requires attention and time and effort and intent. And if you don't have that, then the weeds are going to take over. And if every time you come out as all you see is weeds and you believe to yourself that I can't deal with these weeds, that this is all just going to be weeds, that's what you'll find there. That's if you continue to neglect it, then the weeds will take over and eventually it'll just look like a jungle back here. But you're not going to do that because attending to your garden, for example, is important to you. That holds meaning for you, not just for yourself and in walking out every day and what you see and how it looks and how much production you get out of it, especially out of your fruit and vegetable gardens, but also how it appears to everybody else. That's important to you, just like it would be important to me. The way that you see yourself is the way that you are seen by everybody else, and that's really important too. These all have meaning behind them, and the amount of meaning that we give a thing adds a certain weight to it, a certain gravity, and that can compel or pull, pull your attention towards it. The more meaning you apply to it, the more attention that you'll give it. And then, of course, there's the things that you don't pay attention to, and that can make you feel bad, especially when it's perhaps somebody important in your life, somebody you do have assigned a lot of meaning towards, your own kids or something like that. And when you don't pay attention to them, that affects you as it affects them, because attention is the most powerful thing that any of us have. It's so powerful. Look at there's a statistic that says that the fear of public speaking is greater than the fear of death. And that's because of being in the limelight, being in the eye of the public, it makes some people shine, it makes other people cower, because of the power of attention, how powerful that really is. That's our creative force in the universe, in our lives, is where we're placing our attention. The reason why people get cloudy and can't figure out why things are happening to them or what they're doing with their life is because they lose the connection with the fact that it's their choice where they get to focus their attention, and their attention gets lost. It gets lost in unconscious things. It gets lost in social media feeds or TV or other people's drama or your own drama or in your own head. And you lose sight of what's going on right now, which is the ever-present now, this point of power that we all have access to. And we lose sight of our own significance and our own power in our life through the mere ability to choose what we want to do, how we want to act, what we want to say, what we even want to think about. We let the mind run the show. We let the narrator run the show. The dialogue takes over, and we get lost in those tracks. And the stories that we're telling ourselves never seem to come to any kind of resolve. So we write things off as unsolvable, or this is always a problem, or I am the victim in this life, and this is the way it is, death and taxes. So I'll just grind out another day and count the seconds until death, and hopefully I'll be saved at the end of it. But what you're experiencing is what's happening right now. There isn't some future moment that you're going to get to that isn't right now. That's only going to be right now. That's inescapable. And where you're directing your attention in this moment is where you're placing your power, your creative force, energy, life. Whether it be a garden, whether it be negative thoughts, whether it be your kids, whether it be your wife, whether it be television, a video game. And the more you pour your attention into it, the more it will blossom, the more it will grow. That the same with a garden, the same with a piece of art, the same with a piece of music, the same with a job or building a fence, just the same as negative thoughts and depressing ideas and mental states. You cultivate that. So when you think that you have a mental health disorder, and I'm not saying that there isn't physical reasons behind all this, chemical imbalances in the brain and all that. What I'm saying is that it's nurtured and cultivated through the attention, through you holding it and harnessing it and focusing your mind, your energy upon it. Of where attention goes, energy flows. That's what that means. It's just that we are so caught up in the storylines, the dramas, the ideas that we have, that we share with others about what our life means to us and what it means to everybody else, where the world's going, this country's going down the tubes, all of those things, and the constant storytelling that we tell each other through communication, through socialization. We get so lost and caught up in that we forget that there's only really actually one thing going on. That's right here, right now, and where your attention is directed. Because we're so caught up in where our attention is and what it's doing, that we think that is what's really going on. Because that is what's going on, it is what we're experiencing, but we forget that there's like kind of this neutral space that exists outside of time. And that's here right now. There's nothing newer than now, right? Nothing. You can't get any more fresh than right now. Even talking about right now is happening now in the past. Well, it's kind of like happening in presence and then floating off into the past. And now it's ancient history. And only the next utterance or a vibration that is hitting your ears at this specific moment is where right now is. And that's in one place. That's not anywhere else but right here. Aquí, now, here, right? In Espanol. Here, now, here and now. And I'm saying is here and now is the same as everything. That everything is here and right now. That all time is simultaneous. All time is one time, simultaneous, in one present moment right now. That time is the added feature, if you will, of having a mind, of having a personality, and the way that we tell stories and the way that they have continuity and flow, a beginning and end, a linearity to them, that all exists in this physical dimension that we call reality. But what I'm saying is that there's something that actually lies beyond that, before it, behind it, underneath it, above it, in between it, betwixt it, and that's right now. That's right now, always has been, always will be. It's where you were born, it's where you'll die. And whatever happens after that or before that is in the same spot too. So there's a harnessing there. And when I talk about things like meditation, I'm talking about bringing that point of attention to right here, right now, and expanding it into a field of awareness. Expanding the attention, bringing clarity, precision, sharpness, in a sense, to the attention, so it's more acute, more focused. You're harnessing. That's a strength you're developing. But it's also bringing greater clarity and expanding the breadth of awareness. So by taking one's attention and simply being aware of what's going on, listening, seeing, feeling, sensing, not thinking. Thinking goes on tracks. Thinking turns into dialogue, turns into symbols. And that those all have various corridors and paths that you can take. But that's outside of or detracting from what is here right now, which is this present moment, this thing that's always happening, this right here, right now. This is where life happens. This is where the experience happens. This is where consciousness is happening. And so by my highlighting this and speaking on this, it should, the intention here, and I already know that this is automatically already happening to anyone that should be listening to it, you're reclaiming your own power, your own gift, because you're recognizing, this is me here right now, and this is my right now, just as your now is your right now. And those two things are inseparable. Nobody can take that from you. They can try, and you can give in, and you can let them do it, but it's still your choice. At any given moment, it's your choice where you place your attention. The meaning that you assign to a thing will determine the level of gravity and the level of magnetism that it pulls you towards, but that's your choice too. Your beliefs are your choice. Beliefs are a choice. Beliefs are created by you. They're taught to you by others, but you have to sign off on that. You have to say, yes, this is the way it is. And then your thoughts follow suit. Your state of mind follows suit. The structure of your state of mind and the whole infrastructure, the skeleton, the blueprint of your state of mind is built on belief systems. How often do you question those belief systems? How much do you actually think about that sort of thing? Well, you'll do it more the more you do something like meditate or prayer, any kind of getting into the moment, any time that you're letting go of the persistent, habitual thought processes that seem to enslave everybody out there. And the more you get into the moment, say you're rafting down a river or mountain biking or going on a walk or listening to beautiful music or meditating or praying or dancing or having sex or whatever it is, those acts, that act within itself is bringing you into the moment, the ever-present moment, and it's filling it up. It's filling up this space right here with all of your attention. And you notice the time collapses. My, how the time flies when you're having fun. That's why. Because you're so immersed in the moment that your mind isn't keeping tabs anymore. And those tabs that your mind is doing, that's time. That's the tick, tick, tick. That's the, well, let's check what the time is. It doesn't matter when you're having fun, you're in the moment. It doesn't exist anymore. You can seriously lose 3 hours in having a great time. And it can go by in the blink of an eye. And we all know that. We all understand that. But in those grueling periods that you can't stand to be where you're at, in a waiting room, sitting in line at the DMV, you are paying very close attention at a time. You're keeping track of every other minute that's passing by, and it seems to go slower and slower every time you look at it, because you're so far out of the moment, because you don't want to be there. You don't want to be in that present space. And it could be because of your own mind, because your own mind is where the battles are. And you're fighting your sister in your head right now. And or your parents are fighting in your mind. And it was about something that happened 10 years ago, and you don't even know why, but your mind is playing out this play, and your attention is being pulled to it because it means something to you. There's something about that that's serving you, that you're trying to learn from, and it's pulling your attention. It has some sort of significance to you, some kind of importance to you, because, especially in the case of an argument or fighting, because there isn't harmony there. And you, deep down, deep within, are actually seeking harmony, and you're finding areas in your life where there is no harmony, and for some reason you're compelled to pay attention to that because it's not harmonious. Something doesn't fit right there. And it isn't until you recognize that you're actually supposed to learn something and sort it out in just such a way to where your relationship with it, your association with it, is beneficial to you, that you're able to grow from it and then walk away from it. And then it's no longer a thing anymore. You've evolved. You've moved on to the next level. You can turn the chapter on the book of your life.